Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Hurricane Ida, its landfall in parts of southeastern Louisiana and the large impacts it had. And then I'm going to be mainly focusing on the weather for the week ahead in the UK. I kind of back to normal for a bit, what we can expect kind of for the first week of September in this new week. Anyway, but you can see here, this is Hurricane Ida as it made landfall in parts of southeastern Louisiana yesterday. It was a very extreme storm, as you can see here, very powerful, lots of bands rotating outwards like this. It had a very powerful inner core, and as it moved over parts of southeastern Louisiana, something interesting happened. And what it was is that it managed to kind of fuel itself over the swamps and marshland, the water in parts of southeastern Louisiana, which allowed it to stay quite a strong storm. In fact, a kind of category 3, category 4 major hurricane, even kind of when it was around the New Orleans area. So it managed to cause a lot of impacts due to this. But you can kind of see here, this was the wind, like kind of the hurricane force and tropical storm force wind swaths through yesterday. So you can see there was when kind of just to the west of Jamaica was where tropical storm Ida formed. Then it moved northward, started intensifying over parts of kind of western Cuba like this, became a hurricane then, and then it started kind of from this point on, started rapidly intensifying kind of from here. It was really explosively intensifying over very warm waters and made landfall here with quite a large area, seeing hurricane force winds. And New Orleans is a kind of about here, sort of. I'm not sure if you can see, but New Orleans is about here. That got kind of a direct impact from the Eastern Iowa, and Grand Isle as well got a direct impact. And there was a lot of storm surge flooding. And if I could just quickly go onto Twitter, show you some of the kind of videos there are around. You can see quite a lot of them are quite impressive. Unfortunately, it looks like a building collapse in New Orleans. This is a camera which is attacked by storm surge, and as the storm made landfall, there was sustained winds of 150 miles an hour and a gust of 172 miles an hour in some places. But you can see here, pretty intense damage. It was an incredibly strong storm. Yeah, unfortunately, looked like some levees broke, which is really bad. Look at this video from New Orleans. Crazy. Wow, that's crazy. That's some storm surge. You can see some wind damage there again. Collapsed building. Strong winds in Houma. Oh, this is a crazy video. Listen to that sound, yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, look at that storm surge. That's one of the reasons why a hurricane can be so dangerous. Absolutely incredible winds. Wow, incredible. Look at that. That is why a hurricane is so dangerous. You can see all these footages. You can see there was a satellite, the eye as it made landfall. Anyway, kind of getting back to the video, you can see the Atlantic is still active, though. Ida has just weakened to a tropical storm as it kind of makes its way into parts of Mississippi now. There it is. This area has a very low chance of development, but it still is there. This is kind of the remnants of Julian. It's an extratropical cyclone now. And then this is Tropical Depression 10, which is expected to move northwards as a tropical storm over the next few days or so. It could get reasonably strong for a tropical storm, possibly get winds up to maybe 65 miles an hour or so as it moves north. And then this is probably the next big one that we're watching. It has a high chance of developing within the next 5 days or so, and it's going to be moving kind of in quite a favourable region off the coast of Africa like this. And I'm going to go back to the UK weather, which is the main point of this video. So this is, we're going to be looking at the weather for the week ahead here, and you can see, if I just run through this loop, you're going to notice a few things. If I just go back to the beginning. Oops. So, firstly, one main influence of this week's weather. Sorry, my mouse is being a bit weird. I'm having a bit of problems. You can see we have this high pressure, and winds always flow clockwise around high pressure like this. So we're going to have winds in kind of from the east and northeast with kind of low cloud in parts of eastern areas like this. You can see lots of low cloud coming in from the North Sea, which means that in eastern areas of the country, like Scotland, northern England, eastern England. It's going to be quite cloudy through most of the next kind of few days or so. Though the western half, that cloud kind of burns off, and the western half of the UK, so Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, southwest England, western Scotland, is going to see kind of quite nice, sunny, fine conditions. And you can kind of see that trend continues for the next few days. And it could get in the sunshine in western areas quite warm at times, which is nice. And then what might happen is we might have a change in the position of the high pressure. This kind of high pressure kind of shifts like this in a way, and we kind of get a reorientation like this, and we kind of get some kind of more easterly winds and maybe something a bit warmer. And what could happen is that kind of the high pressure kind of shifts itself kind of down here, and then we kind of get low pressure kind of dragging some milder, also warmer air up, and we could actually see some slightly southerly flow with some warm air towards the end of the week before things turn a bit unsettled. So that's one run from the GFS, just to kind of give like a first idea of what this week could be. And if I run through the kind of the temperatures at 850 HPA, which is about 1.5 kilometers, about mile-ish, you can kind of see it's relatively mild, but unfortunately quite cloudy. Though you do start to see something possibly a bit kind of warmer with those yellow colours across the UK, showing temperatures of 10 degrees and a little bit higher, and maybe something a bit milder with that high pressure before it's pushed away. So now I'm going to be looking at the ECMWF model. This is quite a trusty model. If I put this in full screen, you can see here, let me go back to the beginning. You can see here we have high pressure to the north of the UK. Sorry, my mouse is being a bit weird again. You see I have high pressure to the north of the UK. And you can see as we go kind of into the end of August and the beginning of September, that stays in a relatively similar location, except it kind of starts to move slightly southeastwards. And this could allow for some slightly warmer conditions as we go through parts of September, and some slightly finer conditions, maybe getting into some of the 20s. And one interesting thing to watch, in my opinion, is as this low system moves up, in conjunction with this high pressure, we could get a bit of warmer air, maybe some warmth at the beginning of September, some late warmth, but nothing too extreme, unlikely to get really hot in any way. The highest it's really going to be is probably low 20s. If you look at the temperature anomalies for the next few weeks, going slightly into the longer range now, the red is above average, blue is below average, and what you can see here is we have that high pressure kind of, sorry about this, we have high pressure kind of in control, and as you can see here, we have kind of high pressure like that, and it's relatively temperatures above average, though that kind of just does depend if the sun gets out. But that's through the first week of September, like I was kind of talking about. We could see something a bit warmer. Sorry, I'm still having kind of troubles with the mouse. Yeah, it's very annoying. We could see something a bit warmer into the beginning of September, as you can see, like the first week of September looking warm, though this week, sorry, I don't know what's going on. It's very annoying. So this week still, you can see that quite clearly. We have that east-west divide right through the middle, where we have that kind of cloud coming off the North Sea. It's going to really restrict the temperature. But further west, we do have kind of the nicest sunshine, and temperatures do get above average, actually, in parts of Ireland and also the UK, Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Wales, southwestern England. And in fact, we actually had the warmest August temperature in parts of Scotland around 27 degrees, which is interesting. And then if we go back into the long range again, you can see kind of the second week of September looking like it's relatively staying sort of above average. As you can see, it seems here relatively above average across parts of the UK. The signal is a bit weaker, and then the signal kind of continues to weaken a bit, though potentially maybe a bit cooler towards the beginning of October. And we have above average temperatures out to the west. And if we go on to the precipitation anomaly, you can see here we have that high pressure definitely in charge, very dry. You can see below average, that's the kind of the beigey colours, brownie colours, below average precipitation across much of the UK, but then potentially something next week as it does get a bit milder, maybe a bit warmer. From that low pressure, we do start to see potentially a signal for above average rainfall, especially kind of in the first half of this week, I would say, with those kind of low pressure systems moving up kind of like this, kind of bringing their fronts with them. We could see the first kind of rainy spell in a few weeks, even though it has been quite gloomy. So that's something to watch. And then what happens next week is it looks like that kind of rainy signal could stick around with us for a bit, potentially some a bit more unsettled towards the end of September, though it's kind of staying mild. And you can see that it's not really until the beginning of October, again, that we start to see hints of that dry signal again. And then this says data unavailable. But I just still need to stress that these ones I was just showing you, like kind of for a long way away, it's still a long way away. So it doesn't have the highest degree of certainty, but it's a fairly good indicator. Pressure-wise, this is probably the most important one, I think. You can see we have the purple showing above average pressure. There's that high pressure kind of been going on for a while, kind of bring those winds with the kind of east-west divide. We have low pressure out across the parts of the Atlantic. If I move through, you can see that it looks like the high pressure kind of starts to edge away through parts of September, the first week of September, kind of moves in this direction. And like I've been saying kind of for a bit now, this could, in conjunction with this low pressure, bring kind of something maybe a bit wetter for a time, but also kind of a bit milder, maybe a bit warmer even before the worst weather fronts kick in. You can see we kind of have that signal for low pressure maintaining itself, likely to be relatively unsettled, though there could be some sunshine and showers, winds not too strong, nothing too awful, kind of just average, your average British weather, quite changeable with low pressure hanging around. And you can see that signal for low pressure stays quite similar to the end of September. And what we could be seeing kind of by this stage is if we're getting a kind of Azores high like this, we're pushing winds kind of in this direction, and we could have maybe a bit of a stronger spell of unsettled weather, potentially even a few stronger storms towards the end of September by this indication, with that ridging then kind of making its way towards the UK, and like I've also been saying a bit, could maybe make the first kind of week or so of October a bit more settled. And going into kind of the first, like the second-ish week of October, you can see we kind of have that signal for high pressure to kind of move around like this. Could get maybe some first frosts from some places and quite settled. So that's kind of what we're seeing in towards autumn now. And then kind of looking at the 500 millibar anomalies, it's kind of similar to pressure. You can see we have, this is kind of ridges in the upper level flow and kind of areas of low pressure. You can see if we quickly run through, looks like so into the first week of September, it looked like will be slightly more low pressure, though I think it could be a touch milder. And then low pressure could be dominating kind of towards the middle and end of September. We could have an upper level low, keeping things quite unsettled. And I think the best chance of any properly unsettled weather right now looks kind of to be towards the end of September. We might get kind of highs here, a low here, a relatively strong zonal flow, and potentially a few stronger systems coming in before things turn a bit more settled towards October. As you can see here, we could have kind of a bit more of a blocking pattern. We could see maybe winds coming in slightly from the north or from the northeast, could turn a bit more settled towards the beginning of October at this stage, though it's still far away. Looking at the GFS ensembles, this will be the last thing of this video. You can see this is precipitation and temperature at 150 HPA. As you can see here, kind of relatively kind of mediocre temperatures at the moment, with this kind of high pressure sticking around. Kind of the signal, I just realised I've taken a completely wrong place of Europe, which is annoying, so kind of forget this. I meant to take somewhere in the UK, I completely forgot, but forget about this. This is, sorry, and basically, yeah, looking kind of slightly more, so it's kind of high pressure staying around for the end of August, though it will be a bit cloudy at times in the east. Then kind of the first week of September could be a bit more mild and wet at times. Same with the middle towards the end of September, potentially a bit of low pressure in influence, unsettled showers, sunshine, maybe even some strong winds at times, though as we go into the beginning of October, starting to look a bit more settled. Thank you for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe.